Welcome back to Design Smoke, or welcome back, Cotter. We ran out of light on the street, so we're back inside the lovely Manhattan apartment of Mickey Smith and Aaron Pollack. And I want to talk a little bit more about Stephen Sprouse, because I think we kind of forgotten a little bit about that. There was an intense level, I think, of trust that happened in the Stephen Sprouse book, because no fine artist and designer really get that close and produce that level of work. So, and he died just years after the campaign, or less, like maybe a year after the campaign. But can you talk a little bit about just your relationship with Stephen Sprouse?
He was super fragile individual. Like
in the best way.
He'd been through a lot. One night where I was driving, I used to, when he had come to Minneapolis, I'd pick him up and basically drive him everywhere, drive him back to his hotel, to the office, and basically look after him 24/7. But
really?
you know,
really?
it wasn't like he was, you know, retarded or anything. He was fine. He was just like very, very sensitive to his surroundings and other people.
Sure.
Some of the people at Target freaked him out a little.
I imagine. But how did you get through that? I mean, how did you work with?
I'd have to go to meetings with him. I'd have to help present. They would come down. He was
so in some ways you were kind of a filter, maybe.
Like, yeah. He was holed up in the office, and people would come down to see the work, and we would just work day and night. I've never worked so hard. It was incredible. So I was just there the whole time with him, and it was cool. It was awesome.
Well, and it's important, since this program is called Design Smoke, that you address that a little bit about the level of smoking that happened.
Yeah.
Stephen,
was he a smoker?
He was a smoker and iced tea. He constantly had the biggest like tumbler of iced tea, because he no longer took drugs or drank alcohol anymore. He said to me one day when we were driving home, he goes, you know, I used to take a lot of drugs, like a lot of drugs. I took a lot of drugs. I'm like, yeah, okay, I get it. And
trying really just a caveat. As the experience, it's obviously Stephen Sprouse was maybe the hardest project you ever done. Would you feel comfortable saying that?
Physically hard, because we were talking about the smoke, and he smoked like a train. Yeah. Just unbelievable. I remember we presented one time at...
what a shock, he died young.
Yeah. At like 9 a.m. one morning, we basically worked through the entire night. We would work on stuff. We had an intern from Target that would help to get all the TIFFs and EPSs and stuff in order, because he would just like... he would not stop creating stuff, whether we needed it or not. And so when we did he did a presentation of all completely different colors. It was like 4th of July, red, white, and blue. He just like fought so hard to get an acid yellow in there. And one of the presentations,
like that really was really important.
One of the presentations, we did the entire everything, every beach ball, bikini, beach towel, flag, every freaking thing was done in fluoro colors, like acid yellow, orange, and green. And then all the type was overlaid so that it was 3D. So we were sitting there designing with these 3D glasses at 2 in the morning, looking at the screen, trying to get the combination right to make all the bikinis 3D. So we were actually going to sell.
It's funny you were doing that back in 1999, because I remember you and I like trying to do like really just pure yellow stuff back in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And like you walk into American Apparel right now and it's all...
Yeah. He wanted everything to be sold in Target with a pair of 3D glasses with them.
Nice.
And we designed it and packaged it up, but it for some reason never really happened, because they really were stuck on red, white, and blue. So, so we would do like everything 3 times over, and I nearly... It was the closest I've gotten to throwing up on a project.
Because of the smoke.
Because of the smoke. Because
really?
He would just sit right next to me, because he didn't operate the computer. So basically, like third arm, I was doing everything on the computer for him, and he would just sit there and smoke. Do you mind the smoke? I'm like, no, I'm fine. Yeah. But
yeah, you were telling me like when you're
in
at 4 a.m. and you've got the smoke, that it's just like at that point everybody's blue.
Yeah, you start.
So that didn't poison you enough. You did the Philip Bailey stuff, you did the John Legend stuff, you did the Alicia Keys stuff, and you did the Carrie Underwood stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Which I know you liked quite a bit, or you seem to remember you liking quite a bit.
Yeah, she was awesome.
Not just because she had a third nipple. You liked her for other reasons.
No. The third nipple thing, which was not addressed on the shoot.
Yeah, I wish it would have been. I wish I could.
Apparently, she came out with it on America.
So you're currently working on
That's not why it was
you're
great.
currently working on work for Target right now on a freelance basis.
yeah.
Okay, and what are you working on right now?
What are we doing? A completely new campaign for, just reinventing a look for Target.
Step back, gonna come at you fast. I'm driving out of control and getting ready to crash. So baby, yes, I know what I am, and no, I don't give a and you'll be loving it. Some days I'm a super up to my own tricks, but it won't last forever. Next day
But obviously, there's reinvestment continually between PMH, Dave Peterson, the principal, and
Yeah,
Target,
they
and they
still
just
keep
don't
it
fuck it up. Like they really do continue, because it's not like there aren't other companies in the world and there aren't other advertising or design companies, but
Desperately want the work.
yeah, sure, yeah. Even if they knew how hard it was, they probably wouldn't want it. But there's a reason why the stuff with PMH and you and Dave works, and I think
Yeah.
I honestly, I swear to my core, I believe it's because Dave attracts guys like you and Chad Hagen and a few other guys who are like musicians, visual artists, people who reinvested their creative skills, and they just give a shit. And maybe it's because they don't care as much. Like having worked in advertising, you and I have both worked in advertising in different levels. Like there are people who just care too much, I think. Or I think they care too much about their careers, and they care too much about what they're going to be doing next year. Yeah, or climbing that little ladder, which at the top is just a bunch of bullshit, or just something that isn't very fun. But if I look at the guys that I really respect, I mean, I really flat out in advertising respect, like Bob Berry and Phil Calvert and Pat Fallon and Tom Lichtenheld and Mike Gibbs and any of these guys that I know, like they kind of don't give a shit, or they give less of a shit than their people around them.
Yeah, I think you can get too wound up by it for sure, and it's not, it's been said over that it's not saving the world for sure. Probably doing the complete opposite. So there is no point in getting too wound up.
Yeah,
Wound up over it.